Live. Checking connection. Right, this is weird. This is going to be very different, Dave. But hey, guys, how we doing on a Tuesday tune-in? Are we live? Let's check if we're live, Dave.
Are we live?
And also,
I don't know which screen to
well,
look at. Do I look at the
I know
Instagram?
it's weird, right? We just to trial something different today. Obviously we're on Facebook. Oh, here we go. Nice. But we're also live on Instagram today.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're on Instagram, do drop your comments. Although primarily, obviously, the comments will mainly be able to see will be on our Facebook feed as always. But yeah, if you have joined us, do let us know. I know who we got. We got Marky V, we got Bri, we got Shona. Shona, looking forward to seeing you on the weekend. We got Jim as well. Jim, hope you had an awesome birthday. I know it feels like a couple of weeks ago, but you're
Jimbo.
blasting off now into the 60s, mate. Enjoy. Great to see you on, Laura. Who else is with us? Yeah, let's give us a comment.
And if you might, we've got Stuart Taylor, we've got Rachel, we've got Charles D420.
What a phenomenal time to be alive.
Sounds like you could be a friend of mine.
Brilliant. Who else we got? We got Sital, we got Bob, we got Andrew. It looks like Stuart's on 2 lives. He's on Instagram and he's on Facebook, mate. How are you doing this?
Yeah.
But no, great stuff. It's nice to see so many people on. And today we've talked about this numerous times over the last couple of years, especially, all of us haven't we, lived with vaccinations. But we wanted to concentrate on the vaccinations you need to get into country as well. Now, obviously, COVID aside, there are lots of kind of jabs and vaccinations that you do need for certain countries. And we thought we'd explore that subject. So any questions you've got around that, do comment and, we can get those questions answered for you today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Sorry, I know it's really different, isn't it?
It's so weird. You've thrown off the chi.
I know, I have, but we're going to give it a go anyway. But who else we got? We've got Mark Dutch as well.
Hang on. Lewis Lindsay has said, I was sat in Stansted Airport and the guy sitting next to me was reading the Evertrek newsletter.
That's always a good sign. Always a good sign, Louis. But yeah, great stuff. Well, where should we start?
In the arm, usually.
Is that where it goes?
There's going to be that. That's the level.
Is that the level we're going to?
It's because the cheese all wrong. But no, yeah. So we often talk about, a lot of the big picture stuff. What does it mean to go on a trip? What's the training like for it? What's the highlight of going to Everest Base Camp or Kilimanjaro? But actually, when you break it down in the preparation, there's a lot of nitty gritty stuff that you have to get right. And one of perhaps the most important is the vaccinations that you need for the country.
Yes.
Particularly, and not just vaccinations, but also any specialist medication that you might need as well. I remember how naive I was the first time I ever went to Tanzania, and I forgot to take my malaria tablet one day, and I thought, does it really matter? I don't think it's in Tanzania. And then when I Googled it, I was like, no, it is in Tanzania.
Take your tablet, Dave.
Yeah, it's really bad in Tanzania. As Ross Kemp and Cheryl Cole.
Cheryl Cole?
She had it really bad.
Really?
Yeah. She was. I think they were both out there doing like a Kilimanjaro trek or something along the lines. Ross Kemp nearly died as well.
Jesus.
And they caught it really bad. So malaria tablets. That's one part of it. But also, what other vaccinations do you need? Why are they important? Yes. Which ones are considered sort of absolutely necessary, and which ones are optional? I'd imagine we'll chat some other stuff as well, won't we?
I love Mona. Jerome is still lying on the kitchen floor after paying for his jabs on Sunday. Yeah, as with anything, and it depends on where you're from, where you live. In terms of travel vaccinations, because those vaccinations obviously do cost money. Now we have a good connection with Nomad Health Clinics. They do, like we obviously get our jabs from them. They're a partner of ours, so would always good to obviously give them a plug. But also as well, if you are an Evertrekker, don't forget to go there and you do get a free health consultation, a travel consultation, if you do buy your injections or medication through them.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there, guys. And with jabs, then, as Dave said, you go into these countries, you want to make sure you've got the right jabs, you've got the right medication, because obviously, there are serious stuff out there that can cause you issues. And it's not to put a downer on, traveling to these places, but sometimes, you have to take, we like to have a laugh, we like to have fun, but sometimes you got to take a few things a little bit seriously. Obviously, the altitude is a biggie, but also as well, it's your vaccinations and your jabs.
Yeah.
So most of us from the UK, do have a certain amount of jabs that you would have had, growing up as kids. You have those ones you have the one where you have like 10-year boosters. You got your tetanus, your diphtheria, your typhoid, and one of the hepatitis. I wrote Hep A. There we go. I had to look behind me then.
So if I kind of just, there you go. See, I could have helped you there, but
HEPA.
Yeah.
You can see I did the writing today. You probably won't be able to read it. But yeah, so yeah, they're the kind of main ones that you do get. Some, depending on how old you are, also had cholera as well, in terms of the regular ones. But if not, you can obviously get them through a health clinic, like Nomads. And also as well, just to say, you don't have to go to Nomads. You can go to your GP. It depends on your GP. Some of them charge, some of them don't.
Yeah.
But always you can go to a specialist like Nomad Health Clinics or other health clinics.
Yeah, I tend to
and they get you done.
Yeah, I tend to go to Nomad a lot just because of the convenience of it.
Yeah.
Once or twice. In fact, the first time I ever went to Everest, so I'm a pincushion. I'll take any jab in the arm just to make sure that I'm covered. And yeah, thank you. And I wanted the rabies vaccination, which I had to pay for through the GP.
Yeah.
But it's due to the timescale of them booking it in, because they don't always have these vaccinations in stock.
Yeah.
Where when you book in with Nomad, although you do have to pay, you do get a little bit of discount if you book in through, well, you mentioned Evertrek and you're with us.
Yeah.
It does help. But also it can be done on your schedule. So it is one of them that I do tend to go there. Also, they keep a handy little record of everything that you've had and when. So, I can go there and, well, I've had everything.
I was going to say, Dave, when we go there, you're asking, is there anything I can actually have today?
Because... Yeah. Well, one time, yeah, I'm fully up to speed on rabies.
It's not like you haven't had enough needles, Dave.
Oh, yeah, I know. But these, do you know what it is, though? Like, I really don't like the injections.
But you still go for them?
Yeah.
Like the Japanese encephalitis, the meningitis one.
I had 2 of them, yeah.
Obviously, all the rabies.
Yeah. All the hepatitis. That's 3 jabs. Every single hep.
There's one thing then, you're safe.
Relatively, yeah. I mean, it didn't stop me getting heat exhaustion on Tupcal. So
I'm not saying anything.
I haven't had the heat exhaustion jab yet to protect against that. But actually, we've mentioned rabies a couple of times, and that's an interesting one, because we should talk about it, because it is considered it's like an optional extra.
Yeah.
You can have it. You don't need to have it. It's not a requirement to go to these places. Yeah. And actually, this is like a little bit of a case study in the 2 different types of people, because I'm fully vaccinated for rabies. You're not.
No, I think I've just had the one, which doesn't really do much, to be honest. I had the one just because I was at Nomad Health Clinics. I think historically, it depends what sort of person you are, and I've always, especially traveling wise, I've probably taken, maybe some risks that some people don't take. But it depends on who you are, and I think now, knowing the circumstances and there's places I've traveled to, I think it goes to say Dave is like a massive animal lover. There's not a dog that you don't pet wherever you are.
No, even the ones that are foaming at the mouth, I'm going to give them a little ruffle. But no, I mean, I do try and. Yeah, it's one of them where I don't take unnecessary risks, but I will see a cat and I'll give them a little pet, and if I see a dog, I'll give them a little pet.
Exactly.
I've pet a few yaks in my time. They're less receptive, but I think, and I just read, do you know what it was? It was before I ever went to Everest Base Camp, and I was reading a story about someone traveling in, I think it was Thailand,
right?
But I could be wrong. And they were feeding a little cat, and the cat just scratched their arm.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And I think it was an American girl who then didn't think anything of it, thought that it had to be a bite, thought that it was mainly dogs or bats or whatever, went back home. And obviously with, rabies, once you develop symptoms, it's too late.
Yeah.
You need to be treated. And
that's it. You got to catch it early.
Yeah. Right? And also the one big thing is that, so if you have the jabs, even if you have all 3 vaccinations and you get bit by a dog and you suspect rabies, you still have to go to the hospital. You still have to get the rabies treatment. But what the vaccinations do is they just buy you a lot more time. Essentially, after the 3rd one, you should be safe, but you still have to go through it all. If you've only had 2, you're a little bit protected. If you've only had 1, then you probably need to get back. But it is, we always say it's down to your comfort level, isn't it?
Exactly. Whilst I know we're chatting about rabies here, but Jody is on the comments for the first half, and then Vicky is on the second half of the comments. So yeah, if you do see Evertrek type in, at the moment it's Jody, so she'll be putting your questions, sending them to us. Look at this, mate. I've got the iPad with questions today, just so we don't miss your questions. So yeah, if you do comment questions, we have got them.
Yeah,
we'll come on to them in a wee bit. But yeah, everyone say hello to Jody or the running Yeti, and then you'll be able to meet Vicky, who's the dancing Yeti.
she's the dancing Yeti.
She's the dancing Yeti. I know, and everyone gets to choose their own name. So yeah, if you ever come down to Evertrek HQ, I'm sure that Vicky and Jody will both run and dance for you. And we might be able to get them on. Well, we're hoping to over the next couple of weeks to actually get them onto the live themselves, so you can meet them and you can see two new Yetis.
We've done it before. We've got them on, asked them some questions to get to know them personally.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that.
Sorry, just reading Gav.
I was just reading that. Do vaccinations? Oh, it's lost it. Where did it go?
There he is.
Do vaccinations stop animals from turning into Yetis if they bite you?
That's a good question, Gav.
It is a good question.
I think if a Yeti gets you, mate, that's it. It's game over.
Yeah, so if a Yeti bites you, that's it. You're doomed. There's no vaccination.
There's no
unfortunately.
cure for that.
Only the police. Couldn't stop that from happening.
Wow. Brilliant. But no, going back to rabies, and it is wherever you go, like especially in Asia, especially Southeast Asia, it is quite prevalent. You can get, it's very unlucky. I think if you're thinking about, let's use Nepal as an example. I know a lot of Evertrekkers go there, and the same with going to Tanzania. So a large percentage of our customers go to both, and it's not necessarily just the dogs. Like Dave said earlier about the story with cats, but also as well, especially in Nepal, you've got monkeys. Monkeys can sometimes carry it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have to be a little bit cautious. There's me saying that who doesn't have rabies jabs, but have been to Nepal, almost 10 times.
And you only foam at the mouth a little bit now. You've got the worst of it.
I know. I shouldn't laugh about it. I promise you, I am going to get them done before my next journey out there. That's for sure.
But you are fully up to date on all the mandatory ones.
All the others, yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. You haven't checked in a while, have you?
No. I am. I'm fine. I've had them all. Yellow fever, everything.
Yeah. See, I don't think I'm not vaccinated. Am I yellow fever? I don't know. Japanese encephalitis, even though that's not strictly necessary. I think you only need that if you go into the lowlands of Nepal.
Yeah, which I've also been, but you don't need. Essentially, there's loads of optional ones. Japanese encephalitis is a very rare disease that is in Asia. Like for instance, if you go on to the NHS website and then to the specific country, it'll give you a rundown of specifically what you need. But that always pops up. It's not something I've ever had in terms of the vaccinations. I've not known many cases of it, but it's not a good one if you do catch it. And it is around Asia. It's just good to be aware of it. It's just another one that you can have if you do want that peace of mind.
Yeah.
So do sort of bear that in mind. And yeah, it's one of those. There are other optional ones. You've got Hep B as well is another one, because hepatitis is kind of blood or waterborne disease. If you are regular travelers, you are advised to get those just in case.
Yeah.
And even though you're going through purified water that you do have on a trek, again, it's good to have that to kind of cover your back, really.
Yeah. I mean, and I think yellow fever we touched on briefly.
Yes.
Mainly for Tanzania, but it depends on where you're coming from. If you're coming direct from the UK, or not so much direct, but say that when we go with Qatar, so we pass through the Middle East, which is Qatar. We don't need it. But if you're coming through other parts, I think if you come in
like Kenya,
I think if you come in from Kenya, but it's worth checking. If you are coming through some of those, sometimes you can get a waiver, sometimes you need to be vaccinated. It's worth checking, but it's only really relevant if you are doing a bit of a roundabout travel into Tanzania. What's interesting as well is when you arrive in Tanzania, there's big warning signs about Ebola, but no vaccine for that, unfortunately.
No.
But I just saw Charlotte Rangers one. You're frightening people, so I thought I'd just drop Ebola in there whilst I'm at it.
No, Charlotte. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to all of this, we certainly don't want to scare anyone, but we also have to be open and honest about the places you go. And now this is part of adventure travel. It's why it's different to going to Disneyland and things like that. These are, sometimes you go to these places, there are some dangers. Where you go to them, and we'd rather be open and honest with you than hide it and something happens. But yeah, with vaccinations, it is important to get right. And I think one of the big things as well is that, we know a lot of people's trips are upcoming now. You're obviously we're coming up to almost July, which is nuts. This year has absolutely flown by. But you've got a lot of people going to Kili. You've got a lot of people going to Nepal in the autumn for the trekking season. And obviously, got a lot of people going to South America as well to do some treks out there. So it's good to get them way in advance, because some of the injections, especially rabies, you need to leave a gap between each injection. And rabies is actually 3 injections. So you've got to put a bit of time aside to, and I say same with hepatitis. It's not just 1, I believe it's 2. So you've got to kind of leave that time. So do it in plenty of notice before you go on your trips. You know, like anything 3 to 6 months is probably a good time, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea anyway to go to these travel clinics like Nomad, because they do offer when you go to your GP, fantastic though they are, they're not necessarily travel doctors. The only way they would have gained that experience is if they had traveled themselves. Where when you go to Nomad, they are, you know, most of the times specialist practitioners. They're about travel medicine. They have a real good knowledge, particularly with things like Diamox. You know, I've been to a GP and I've asked about Diamox before. Those of you that don't know what Diamox is, it's a drug that was designed for epilepsy and glaucoma a long time ago, but the same mechanism helps you acclimatize to altitude. There is a blog about Diamox which I wrote, and I explained a little bit how it worked. Maybe Jody can post it in here. But when I asked my GP about it, they were like, "Why do you need Diamox?" And I was like, "Oh, because I'm going to altitude." And they were like, "Sorry, what?" You know, and he was reluctant to prescribe it to me. When you go to the travel clinic and you say, "Yeah, I need Diamox," they're like, "Oh, okay, great. Where are you going?" "Okay, here." And they also tell you a little bit about it, and it's where I learned a lot of what I know about it. And it you know, it helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, Diamox is a good one. I mean, because essentially, I know it's a bit more medication than vaccinations, but you know, if we are moving on to to medication, it is something that a lot of Evertrekkers do choose to use. And when it comes to altitude, you know, I think we've done, we have done a Tuesday choosing all on Diamox, you know, which is especially using high altitude medication. It can suppress the onset of symptoms of altitude sickness, which sounds a bit nuts, doesn't it? Because you think, well, I want to sort this out rather than hide them, which used to be my personal opinion back in the very early days of going to altitude. But actually, over time and seeing how much it can transform people's trips, used almost as a reactively rather than proactively, is from experience helps people. Like you know, we've had friends, family members, you know, loads of Evertrekkers who have used it. Davey used it yourself. Who maybe you're not quite feeling right there, and it's a game changer, isn't it? It can change your trip from being a mediocre one, or you know, essentially have to cancel that trip, to actually succeeding.
Yeah, no, it made a big difference. I mean, I've always had it, but I've never used it in the Everest and Nepal trips. But for some reason, when I went to Kilimanjaro, I could just tell I wasn't firing on all cylinders. And although I don't know if I'd call it altitude sickness, I thought that, you know, I would try the Diamox to see if that alleviated some of my symptoms, and it did. And I was able to carry on and reach the summit and be successful on that mountain. And you know, could I have done it without the Diamox? I don't know. But that's the whole point. I didn't know, and I didn't want to wait until it was too late. And in my view, you know, there are some purists who, when they're trekking, climbers use it all the time. It's not even a question. But some trekkers, when they use it, they're reluctant to do it, and they think, I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know. I want to do it on my own. And my father was one of them. When we first went to base camp,
he went on Diamox. Was it about 5 days in?
On a second trip. The first one, he didn't want to do it.
Right.
And you know, stopped short of base camp. Second one, he started pretty much from Lukla, half a pill in the morning, half a pill in the evening, and made it. And nice. You know, it turns people around. One other medication I think we should talk about, which it kind of falls into the vaccination stuff, is the malaria.
The malaria, mate, go for it. Yeah, start. I think with malaria, especially more prominent in Africa than Asia. There's certain parts of Asia that they do recommend it. I think if you go into any jungle regions, you know, if you look at the Fit for Travel website, the NHS website, it does give a little bit of info around that. And when it comes to Tanzania, you do need malaria tablets for that trip. So do again go and chat to a travel specialist to see what medication you have, especially if you're a lady and you're on the pill, for instance. There are certain if you're on certain medication already, there are certain ones that aren't very good, or they don't work as well, or they might make the pill not work. So yeah, just to let you know, definitely have a chat with your GP first if you want, or if you want to chat with I see some comments on Instagram.
I'm gonna concentrate on the Instagram next, because I don't want to miss these guys.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, if you've got, do have a chat with your GP or the travel health specialist. They will advise on what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ones like doxycycline we've used.
I use that.
Malarone.
I've used that one.
Which is a fun one, that's for sure. I used to have crazy dreams on that. But yeah, just some you have to take for longer. So for instance, I think it's doxycycline. You take it, I think, almost a week or 2 weeks before you go, all the way, and then a week or two afterwards, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was a week or 2 weeks before you travel. I think it was a week
like
before you go.
Month, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, a week before you go for the whole period you're there, and then a month after you come back. I only took that one because I don't know, it seemed like it was an antibiotic, so I thought maybe that'll kill two birds with one stone. But actually, I don't want to be on an antibiotic unnecessarily, and not for that length of time. So the second time I went to Tanzania, I took Malarone, which was 1 pill a day. I find, it is best to take it in the morning, because if you take it at the night, you do have some crazy dreams. Not nightmares, they're not unpleasant, but it's just you don't have a restful sleep. But yeah, and it's perfectly safe. I think definitely talk to the travel clinics about that, because there is a couple of different options that might not be suitable for some people. For instance, there is one Lariam, which is an older one that they use. But I think that has some pretty negative stuff. What I want to do, and I want to grab a couple of questions from Instagram so we don't miss them.
Okay.
One of them is from Nepal Mountain Kingdom. I believe you're a guide. Awesome to have a guide on you.
Yeah, definitely.
He said there's lots of ups and downs. Trekkers have to climb lots of stairs in Nepal. That's certainly true. Most of my clients, most of my clients got knee problems. Might be a ligament sprain. I know something about that. How would you handle with that? So honestly, my friend, I think the best thing to do for any type of client that's doing any type of trek with a knee injury or a ligament injury is, one, figure out exactly what the limitations of that injury are before they go.
Yeah.
So, you want to do some long hikes. You want to see how many hours you can do on it before it starts to swell. And then it's all about managing swelling and inflammation. So make sure that you have a knee support on, make sure that they take things like ibuprofen, anti-inflammatories, and make sure that when they're not trekking, when they finish the day, that it's elevated and rested, ready for the next day. And also poles for going downhill helps a lot as well.
Nice. Vicky's copying over the questions. Oh, excuse me. Jeez, bit of gas. Copying over the questions from Insta, so that's good. Cheers for doing that, Vicky. But yeah, so with malaria, just to cover off the tablet side of it, do make sure you do have a chat with your health specialist. Very important. With the questions there, I just want to tackle a couple from our trusty Facebook people. So I'm trying to find our questions now, because there was some quite important ones around Nepal, I think. Where is it? I think Georgie. And hey, Georgie, how you doing? Just asked around vaccines essential for Nepal. I presume you obviously talk about vaccinations. Definitely, I think Shona's actually put some links on here. Fitfortravel.nhs. Definitely have a look on there, the specifics. The ones we covered off already, if you did them, you're going to be okay. But obviously with us, this isn't kind of medical advice, because we do recommend that anyone getting vaccinations do check the specific information. This is just our experience, really, in terms of what we recommend you use and go for. And then Sophie as well. Hey, Sophie, how you doing? K2 next, my friend. Do we need yellow fever for Tanzania? Another good question. As Dave mentioned there, depends on where you're coming from or which country you're traveling through, depending on if you need it. Because you don't necessarily need it. You used to. I think when I first went there in 2008 to Tanzania, you had to have the yellow fever. You had to have a yellow fever passport before getting in the country. Now it's not that. You could arrive in Tanzania and you don't need to have yellow fever. So I've got it. But you do if you go through certain countries that have a risk of yellow fever. So again, I hate referring to other places, but we don't want to get this wrong for you guys, because it's really important. Do check the specific information from the countries you're flying through, and just check that you need it on the website. And on the NHS, they're pretty good, with all the vaccinations and what you need and where you go. I definitely point you in that direction of the Fit for Travel website.
Awesome.
It's a really good website. There's lots of useful info on there.
Awesome. We got a question here from Catherine Jones. She was literally going to message about jabs.
Oh, nice.
Malaria, do you have to take them tablets prior to going?
Yeah.
You used to have to do 2 weeks before, then 2 weeks after. Not sure this is still the case. So, yeah, that's probably the doxycycline.
Yeah.
With the Malarone, I think it's 3 days before you go and then for a week after you come back.
Yeah.
But when you get given that, you will get given clear instructions, and it's really important to take them. One other thing that it wasn't in any of our groups, but I heard mention of it, that there are no mosquitoes the higher you go in Kilimanjaro. There definitely are some. I know for a fact because I saw them. I got bit by one at Big Tree, the first camp. But also it's important to keep that level of resistance in your body. So when you're on the mountain and you're really high up, keep taking them, even though you're not getting bit, because you'll need it still in your system when you come down. Also wanted to know about typhoid vaccine. There's currently a shortage, so it might be good to start looking now to see who has this.
Yeah, it's a good point. Cheers, Catherine.
Yeah, it's a good point actually. And one thing I did just spot as well, I think it was Shona that said that the NHS in Scotland is not providing travel vaccinations anymore. So
travel specialist it is.
Yeah, travel specialist it is. Yeah, for our Scottish friends.
I think this is what I meant earlier about depending on where you're living and where, I know the Wales and English, in terms of money and paying for your vaccinations is different. We do get quite a lot free in Wales. So you can come across the border if you want. But no, so depending on where you are, depending on what your GP allows. But yeah, it's a good point. And especially if you're in Scotland, which we're coming there on Thursday. Can't wait to see you guys. For the Great Glencoe Challenge for our third time, Dave. Can't wait for that.
Second time.
Second time for you.
So I made another little one there just to
take the knife out there.
Yeah, no, well, actually, I was base camp support.
You were there. Injured, mate. You can't get around.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Any excuse.
It was funny. I was in a year
ACL replacement.
Yeah, I know. I still don't know where it is. But no, a year ago today, I couldn't walk.
That's mad.
I was on crutches a year ago today.
Mate, that's perspective for you, isn't it?
I know.
Look how far you've come.
I know. You wouldn't know it when you hear my knee. It's like it's got bubble wrap inside it. Deb Badgery says, I recently purchased a water bladder. Oh, it's a good question. Nice. I recently purchased a water bladder, and now I wouldn't go back to a bottle. I definitely drink more water as well. At home, I wash it out with washing up liquid and then pop it in the freezer. What's your recommendations while trekking to EBC, please? Honestly, I've never washed mine out with anything other than water, to be honest. And then I just dry it and I make sure that it's dry. And I've never put it in the freezer. So Deb, you might be helping me out.
Something
that might be. Is that an interesting way to keep it sort of like mold free? Do you think in the freezer?
Potentially,
that might be it.
As long as it doesn't crack, because with water, probably as long as it's sealed unit.
Yeah,
I suppose that would work, right?
One time, I filled my bladder up with water because it was really bad, and then I put like a couple of chlorine tablets in there, thinking that would clean it, but it made the bladder unusable. It was like sucking a swimming pool through the straw. But no, I 100% recommend water bladders. I do bring a bottle always, because we've got water filter bottles. Andy, there's about 20 cups here, but no one.
I know. They're behind the wall.
Yeah, so we use water filters. They're really handy to have when you're in the lodges and things like that. Yeah, for brushing your teeth, for drinking. But yeah, on the trek itself, 100% water bladder makes it so much easier.
Yeah, nice. Kevin, hey, it's Kevin Beavis. Kev, how you doing? Thanks for dropping us a message. When was it? Yesterday. I was away the weekend, but great to hear from you. Freezer gets the silicon taste away. Interesting. We'll have to try that. Obviously, I hadn't heard of that before. Is that Rachel Horton there? Is Rachel our competition winner from last week? Is she on? I've just seen she's popped up.
She's tuned back in.
I know, finally.
And the winner is... Oh, sorry, it's not one today, is it? I think we've got Anuj as well on here.
I think he's there somewhere.
Yeah, the main man himself over in Nepal. So namaste, Anuj.
Yeah, namaste, guys. It's interesting, just people's comments now on the back of the that question. Because quite interested around freezing it. Yeah, it's to give that a go,
Shona...
she knows everything.
We should start like a little section called Shona's Corner or
Shona
something.
Says.
Yeah, Shona Says. That's what we're going to start to do.
Shona Says.
Because honestly though, it's really good having Shona and lots of other people because they make sure that I have to keep that knowledge level there, because my biggest fear, and I'm sure it's happened 3 or 4 times since I've said something, and they're like, actually, Dave. But yeah, really good point there, that freezing it stops the plastic taste, but also Sean is saying freezer stops any bacteria and mold growth in there as well.
Get rid of the horrible taste. Do you know what? I'm gonna give that a go. Ready for this weekend?
I'm gonna warp that a few for this weekend.
Nice,
because we've got the small rucksacks.
We've got the small ones, yeah. Ready? Yeah. Let's go. Jerome, late to the party. Have I won yet? Jerome's
late to the party.
Jerome, you have won at life.
We made him hall monitor.
We did make him hall monitor.
Sorry, that's a direct violation of his duties. I'm sorry, Jerome, but you are now relieved of hall monitor duties.
Do you think he's gone back down to chief stone carrier?
I think so, yeah. Okay. I mean, if he's not here on time, how can he monitor the halls? Anyway. Also, yeah, it's really cool to see people on Instagram as well. I'm really enjoying the gram. So we've got, was it Charlotte, Janny?
Yeah, we've got Rachel, a few people. We thought we'd, and obviously Facebook is where we're primarily at. But we wanted to, we've had some comments, just basically people on Insta, not on Facebook, so we thought we'd throw it out there.
Yeah.
It's not as quite, the setup is a little bit different. So yeah, if you join it, it's a bit rough and ready on Insta.
I don't like this angle, like looking up at us. You know, like this is all right because it's looking down. It's like more flattering than this looking up. But we'll work on that one.
Yeah. Stuart, totally off topic, guys. The team I was doing the Great Glencoe Challenge was bailed, so I'm heading up to Scotland on Thursday from Essex. We'd love to join. Yeah, we're out, mate. We'll be there. You'll see us around. We might be the slower side of the 12 hours, but no, we'll be there. We're looking forward to seeing. We always bump into Evertrackers on the Great Glencoe Challenge because we get a lot of Evertrackers in Scotland. Although from Essex as well, because you're travelling all the way up, that's a journey. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see you there, Stuart.
Well, look out for the van.
Look out for the van. The truck, taking the truck.
The Evertruck.
Look out for the Evertruck. You'll see Evertrack flying around on the weekend.
We've got a question from Di Fizzbach.
Hey,
that's Diane, by the way, but her name is now it's Di Fizzbach.
Did she agree that?
No.
You just okay. Sorry, Diane.
I've never asked permission before. Just in the process of booking some with the GP and deciding which I need through a travel clinic. My GP surgery suggested master clinics. Are they any good? Honestly, Diane, I've not heard of them myself, but I'm sure if they've been recommended by a GP that they're going to be really good. Honestly, we've hooked up with Nomad Clinics. We like the way they do their do stuff. We work with them really well. But by all means, you're free to go wherever you want to, because I do think that if you get vaccinated, you get vaccinated, right? That's it. As long as the stuff in the needle is the right stuff, then the service you're getting is exactly what you need.
Exactly. And I know, Diane, you posted another question. Sorry, Diane. Dave can call you that. But yeah, you mentioned around travel clinics. I've just reading a question here. The cynic in me wonders if a travel clinic would be more likely to press you for the optional ones, just obviously regarding the cost. The same thought went through my mind the first time. Are they going to push their optional ones? Because obviously they're, in any business, in anything at all, they want to obviously sell more. But, I think it's part of the game. It is for them. Ultimately, they're telling you what's available and then giving you an informed choice then for you to go, do I actually need this or don't I? And then it's down to you then whether you go for it or not. Certainly it's, it's an optional thing, isn't it, with these optional ones? But, with the cost implications, definitely find if it's right for you. It's typical because it is a good cross-section, because when I go there with Dave has some that I don't, because I make a decision for me knowing that, okay, there's the cost, there's the risks, and I'm like, cool, I'm good. Dave's like, jab me.
Well, the way I look at it, my view is that it's peace of mind, and I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel rough the next day, no doubt. Anyway, so just stick it in. Rebecca, butterflies and bees.
Butterflies and bees. How you doing, Rebecca?
I would like to pronounce it properly, but I can't pronounce the bee.
You'd be fine. About 4 beers if you tried that, mate.
I know papillon. I don't know what the bees bit is.
I did German, not French.
Did you?
Yeah. I struggle with my French. You get better at it.
So, do you think I should get Japanese encephalitis jab for EBC, as I've been considering it? This is one where I'm saying I'm not going to offer you any official advice. I'm going to tell you what I have read, which is that it's not a great risk for people who are trekking in Nepal and going to high altitude. It's mainly in the lower areas of the country, particularly the more rural ones where there are lots more mosquitoes and things like that. I've not had it, but now you know that. I highly recommend, once again, the advice, our default is always going to be speak to a professional, get their opinion. Don't make a decision based on what Dave told you, in case you get Japanese encephalitis, and I'll feel bad.
Good one. Mona is asking, Diamox from Tubcal, only briefly there. Mona, to be honest, I don't think you'll need it. Although you get to 4,100 meters, you're not there that long. Okay, on the 8-day trek, you might. Are you on the weekend or the 8-day trek? Just remind me. There might be more of a risk. So if you do want to take some with you, maybe take some with you. But to be honest, because the altitude, I wouldn't think you're going to struggle there. But as with anything, if you do have them and then you need them, they're good to have.
Yeah.
But if you're on the weekender, I think you're up and down so quickly. Okay, you're on the 8-day. So just look at the altitude profile. I think you'll be fine because you'll be around 2,000, 2,500 for a couple of nights. You would acclimatize before you start going a bit higher. And then you jump 1,000 meters on summit day anyway. So you're only really, just pretty much around 3,000 meters. And generally, altitude doesn't really, in terms of Diamox, it's when you get a bit higher than that it really starts to kick in and help.
Yeah.
So really with Tubcal, I don't think you're going to need it. Just my personal opinion. Maybe wrong. And when you get there, you'll be like, Andy, I wish I had these. But, so maybe take some just in case. But I think you'll be fine. Yeah. I honestly do. Especially with your experience.
Do you think Steph Moore will be fine?
Steph Moore will be fine.
Absolutely fine.
I knew she'd join us finally on Instagram. Rather than Facebook, because we got dual setups here, which is a bit weird.
That's one of your 20 sisters.
Well, my sister, she got a first in her graduation. I'm very proud of my sister. I thought I'd say that, which is
congratulations.
Congratulations. Which she got last week. So very well done.
We've never had have we ever came first?
I never had a first.
No,
I never went to university.
No,
only University of Life.
Yeah, same here. Jill Morrissey has asked, are there any side effects for Diamox? Yes. I talked about it a little bit more in the blog. You do get some.
Yeah.
I think there's a few types of people that shouldn't take Diamox. I think if you're sensitive to any type of like sulfur medication or something like that, or if you have like a known heart problem, again, speak to a doctor about this. But the side effects that I personally experienced that I know are relatively true for almost anybody is you'll get pins and needles kind of in your toes and fingers and sometimes in your face, kind of like there. It's not terribly unpleasant. It's just annoying whilst you're aware of it. And the other one, too much Diamox. And the other one is that it will make you pee a lot more. Part of the process that when you go to altitude, naturally you'll start to pee a lot more anyway. That's because it's the body's way of acclimatizing, as well as you drinking more because of the exercise you're doing. When you take Diamox, it kind of straps a turbocharger to that process. So I never get up in the night to go to the toilet or anything like that. But when I took Diamox, like twice every night, I'd have to get up and go to the toilet. So you have to be conscious that you're losing more, so you have to drink more. Have a read of the blog and then speak to a medical professional, and they'll give you all the information you need about that. Nice.
Just going through some more of the questions. We've had some really good ones today, guys, as well. Some quite lots of different questions. But one of them, let's have a look. Where is it? Wayne Armitage. I think any advice on bringing personal meds into Nepal and keeping them at 25 degrees C? Maybe not an issue in November. With regulation of temperatures, because we've had certain questions before, like someone who had, I think it was type 1 diabetes, and they needed their medication to be kept cool, which, as you can imagine, in certain remote regions, it can be quite hard. So with regards to the other way around, 25 degrees, you're right, it is. You go into Nepal, it's a very cold place, especially, in November. It's fine during the day, I think. But it might be worth, if you want to drop us a message just to see specifically, because when you're at like the tea houses, you generally they've got like refrigeration, but they're not always reliable because the electricity can come and go depending on weather, depending on because it's such a remote region. So definitely, it's something we could probably sort out. But regulation of temperature is a difficult one. It's come up before, isn't it? And we've been, we hate to say 100% because, it'll probably be fine. And we've had customers who have brought similar medication that they needed to, and it was fine. But you just got to
It
Just
is
got to
tricky.
keep in the back of your mind, haven't you? It's not always guaranteed.
It can be very warm, particularly in the lower altitudes.
Yeah.
Keeping something under, like, what was it, 25 degrees C?
Yeah, I think he says
it would be
keeping them at 25 degrees C.
I mean,
yeah,
if they're in your bag out
Yeah.
of direct sunlight, it's very likely that that'll be the case. But again, I would probably take some extra measures. Maybe get some. You can even buy these like cooling gels and stuff like that you can kind of crack open.
That's a good point.
And put in the box with them so they keep cool. I'd probably do something along those lines rather than just rely on the weather doing what you want it to do, because inevitably that's never works out.
Just put it on there as well. Mel Stacey just got back from Nomad appointment with Nomad Health Clinics. Great stuff. Malaria tablets via the pharmacy website rather than the clinic. Interesting. Okay, cheaper for you guys. Good. Yeah, thanks, Mel. Thanks for telling us that. So yeah, good advice if you're looking at malaria tablets. Buy via their pharmacy website. It's a little bit cheaper. Happy days.
Awesome. John Milton, do you still need proof of COVID vaccination, which is another type of vaccination, to go to Nepal?
We haven't really talked about COVID yet. I know. We primarily talked about jab. Obviously, the normal ones before COVID came along. But you're right. Yeah, about COVID.
Yeah. So with Nepal, you need to provide proof of a double vaccination status, or you need to have a negative PCR test within, I believe, 72 hours of your arrival in Nepal. So yeah, both of those, you meet that criteria, you're all good to go. If you can't do either of those things, then there's a lot of quarantine and issues that makes travel pretty much pointless. But so you do still need to provide proof. If you can't provide proof, you need to do a PCR, and then you're good to go.
Nice. Chris has put on there, Chris Pro. Hey Chris, how you doing? Nice shout out to Evertrek. You've put a link there. I'll have to check that out afterwards. But was that about your Mera Peak Summit? Awesome. I'll have to check it out. Chelmsford Adventurer aims high with Mera Peak mountain climb. Love it. Can't wait to read that one, Chris. I'll have to check it out. But no, great stuff. So Wayne's come back. Here we go. That should have said below 25 degrees. I see. Yeah, okay, mate. Like that is probably more achievable in Nepal. I'd say keeping it below 25 degrees. Yeah, because especially in November, it's bloody cold. So yeah, as long as there's not like a dip for the temperature to go below, because when you're at Gorakshep, you're looking at sometimes it can get down to -15, -20 in November. It can be cold because you're creeping towards winter. But yeah, with COVID, I know there's a few questions, Dave, around the arrivals and what people need and things like that. Now, I know that's changed on a daily basis, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, it's
like at the moment, for instance, Nepal, you just need proof of vaccination.
Proof of vaccination status, which is 2 jabs,
or a test if you're not vaccinated.
Yeah, or a test if you're unvaccinated. The same goes for Morocco.
Yeah.
Tanzania really doesn't have any types of restrictions, really. However, what I always say is you do have to transit through a lot of places. I think if you are vaccinated, there's absolutely no harm in getting that proof of vaccination status downloaded onto your phone. Because you do get asked about it sometimes when you do transiting and things like that. Nice. But what we do before everyone goes on a trip, we encourage everybody to familiarize themselves with the travel requirements, because you do have to kind of know that. But we also do send out some pre-arrival emails as well, where we give you the kind of like the most important points that you have to kind of tick box in order to get where you're going. And
as up to date as we can, right? Because I mean, if you go onto the FCO website, and I know we've chat about it so much over the last couple of years, do check if there's anything that you need to do. Like even I was in Portugal a couple of weeks ago, and the last time I went there, last year, it was pretty nuts in terms of what you needed, and then it was kind of nice in a way to kind of go there without having to do anything, especially on the return as well. So yeah, do check, guys. I know, touch wood, things are fast moving on from COVID, which is amazing, and we're getting back to doing these adventures and the things we love. But as always, just keep a double check on those, just in case there's anything last minute, and we'll certainly let you know if we hear anything. And we do hear things on the grapevine generally roughly before they happen.
Yeah, some people are thinking, and you don't like the camera because you're only showing up half on it.
Oh, really?
And I've just checked, and that's why. So maybe if we just move you over a little bit,
that's fine.
There he is in all his glory.
I know. Sorry, wait for the instas. But yeah, so when it comes to that, Dave Carmen, you're watching it. Wow, this is weird, Dave.
Yeah.
But no, just something to be aware of. Just check the FCO website. I know Kev's asked, Kev Beavis might have to look at this Glencoe challenge in a year or two. Is it an Evertrek trip? Is it bookable? No. So the Great Glencoe Challenge has been going for many years. It's not part of our of Evertrek at all. It's something we've done personally. So we go there personally. We don't go there in official capacity. We go there to participate. So this is, like I said earlier, this will be my third time, Dave's second in in terms of doing it, and it's 26.2 miles over the some of the most beautiful landscape through Glencoe, some over the West Highland Way, and you drop down into Glen Nevis where it finishes. So yeah, it's a fantastic weekend. I catch up with some of my friends up in Scotland, and we always bump into Evertrekkers there. But yeah, get yourself on it, mate. Get yourself on it. It's brilliant. I believe some people from the Escapees are thinking about doing it next year. Highly recommend it, guys. It's a great weekend, and we quite enjoy going to do events personally, and this is one of the top ones. It's very well run.
Awesome. Having a quick look in here. Yeah. So AJVTMS, I'm assuming it's an Instagram. Do you have to pay for your jabs for travel, or are they on the NHS looking at booking EBC?
Yeah.
I always pay for mine privately using a health clinic, but certainly speak to your GP, because some of those may be some of the more standard ones may be there. A lot of GP practices, they operate quite differently, even in the same sort of health board. So some of them are able to do it, some can't. So I definitely think that you should, check it out, but certainly explore both options, privately and on the NHS. I was going to say something about time, because we did have another question about when is the best time to kind of get the jabs booked. I cannot see who asked that, so I do apologize. It really, as soon as possible, really. There's no harm in having them done like 6 months before you go, because they'll still be protecting you. But things like rabies, you have to have, I think it's 2 weeks or something like that between each jab. And you need 3 jabs to be fully protected. So obviously you need at least 6 weeks before. And I would probably get more than that, just in, because it's a minimum of 2 weeks, but then you've got to factor in your appointment time and things like that.
Just reading Georgie here. Just put rabies, cholera, yellow fever, Hep A, and a lucky dip of others. Brilliant. And I think Georgie, just reading out, where's Georgie? It should be a new game. But yeah, is in, where is he? He's in the generator diesel tank. So I need to speak up. Georgie, wherever you're going to be next week, you need to find a new spot every week, mate. That's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Let us know where you are next week. That is brilliant. No worries, Kev. Yeah, I hope that helps.
How big is this generator? And how much fuel does it need?
I reckon it's a beast.
Do you know? No, I won't go to a digressive story, because it'll take a while to tell you. But I worked on a tank like that once.
Paula was on as well. She's gone. just reading through some of the comments as well. And Dave, I mean, looking at our next trips, because I know any questions, guys, do post them on here, because we've got about another sort of 12 minutes, so we got a little bit of time. But yeah, when it comes to just rounding off really the kind of vaccinations and medication stuff, all what we say here is just from experience and from Evertrek experience. But do check the official advice, and do what's right for you. When it comes to these, there's obviously the ones you do need, there's the optional ones, and have a little look, and obviously financially as well, because some of the, if you're getting all of them, they could be like £300-400. It can really stack up.
Yeah.
Especially then if you're thinking about, buying obviously your medication on top of that, like Diamox and malaria. It can be quite a lot. So, if you're trying to budget before a trip, definitely stretch it out. Maybe think, okay, 6 months before the trip, I'm going to get some of my malaria medication, because that's, £100. Then I'm going to get my Diamox, and then book your rabies jabs in, for instance, because they're £100 to £200. I think about 150 roughly. And then you've got to think about all your others. So do kind of spread that out if, you're trying to keep sensible with the dollars. And yeah, Dave, what else from you, mate? What have we
got? Just to say that it was Helen Graham Gordon that asked me about how long in advance we should have to.
Sorry, Helen. We got lots of questions coming in. It's quite weird, this kind of setup. We're hoping what we're able to do, because we do realize that a lot of people are on Instagram as well who do follow us. The main one will always be on Facebook, just because that's where we've always done our Tuesday tune-ins, and they'll continue to stay there. But we're trying to work out a way where we can stream it direct. Excuse me.
Onto the gram,
just because people are there. But to everyone else as well, obviously, if you're not on both, because we do upload this to our Mountain Malarkey podcast every week, and we do upload it to YouTube. So we're trying to cover all bases, really. If you want to listen to us in the gym, on the drive to work, or it's part of your Tuesday diary, it's in there. Like I know a lot of Evertrackers who do put it in their diary. Dave doesn't put it in his diary, believe it or not. You, Dave?
I know when it is, mate.
But you're ready there. And
every Tuesday, 12:30.
Mate, fair dues. You haven't missed many at all.
TTI till I die, mate.
Look at Jerome. I've used my Evertrack runner-up prize to pay for my jabs. Good man, good man. But no, just a reminder as well, something I haven't talked about, and this is completely separate to jabs, is that if you are booked onto a trip, we've got another date we've got another date now on our website for another training weekend, because we got one in August, but that's sold out. Very popular. We had, I think, 24 people book on. We've got another 24 spaces booked in. Tom's joined. Hey, here he is on Instagram. We've got another 24 spaces in October. Now, I think Jodie's on the comments. Well, maybe Vicky. Do put the link to a training weekend in the comments. Just for anyone who basically, with a training weekend's a bit of a hiking weekend in Brecon with me and Dave, lots of Evertrackers. We got Steve, who is also come down from North Wales to guide the trip. And it's really an opportunity for obviously to catch up with us, to get you ready for your trip, but also enjoy just some hiking and some trekking in Wales, which is always good fun. So definitely get on and check that date in October. I'm trying to remember the specific date.
By all accounts, we're
October,
if you look, we flipped the screen, haven't we, on one of them, but not on the other. Apparently, it's Lee has informed us on Instagram that
has she
that we
yeah, I can't change the one on Insta, but we're the right way around on Facebook, aren't we? I think
Lee's a dude.
Oh, sorry, Lee. I thought you said Leah. That's Lee Davey. Hey, Lee.
Oh,
he's been on both.
Yeah.
He's following us around. But yeah, just with the date, if you can just jump on the website, it is on there. There we go. There's the link. If you click on that link, it will show you. So this is the link here. Just put it on there. So if you go to evertrack.co.uk/expeditions/training weekend, you'll be able to see that specific date, which is in October.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really good weekend. Be lovely to catch up with you. If you're prepping for a trip, then it'll be great. And I promise you, there'll be no vaccinations on that trip at all. There'll be none. Unless Dave is a volunteer, maybe you can jab him if you want. I'm sure he'd be fine with that.
Yeah, quite a lot. Apparently, a lot of people after a day's hiking want to jab me.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, quite a lot of people have said that. Yeah, that yeah. But no, yeah, I'm really looking forward to the training weekend. It's going to be great. Yeah. I've actually missed a few. I mean, I was in attendance, but I wasn't walking.
Well, you can't, mate. You can't ACL disappears. What can you do?
I know it's somewhere in Wales somewhere.
Just got to give up biking, mate. But then again, it's a big part of your fitness, isn't it? You do a lot of biking.
Yeah, you got to go fast to have fun, mate. You know,
Jerome, I know you're going to be in Nepal. There will be more coming out because we're going to do a couple of big ones a year now. So there will be 2 for next year. Very, very soon as well, we will be releasing our winter skills, which was very popular last year. We will be releasing those very, very soon. So if you can't make those, you can make the winter skills courses over on Steve, who will be joining us on the training weekend. He runs them up for us in Snowdonia. So yeah, we'll definitely be releasing those very soon.
Actually, I'll wait there. Right, I've just cancelled Jerome's trip anyway in October, so he can come with us now. That's good, isn't it?
You'll have to message him, Jerome.
Yeah, sorry
mate.
Hang on,
we had to do
someone else has booked it already. That was quick, wasn't it? So yeah, there we are, sorted.
Black Diamond, not TNF today, Dave.
We've been through this, and
well,
they said that I only wear North Face t-shirts. So yeah, now I've got. Wait,
the mad thing is now is that you don't wear any North Face.
No.
Mate, I'm proud of you.
No, I've got shorts
We've really
on.
Switched.
Yeah, no, well,
because
honestly,
I'm Patagonia, you're Black Diamond and Evertrek, and you're a Yeti, of course.
Yeti, yeah. See this?
We're definitely repping the brands this week.
Yeah, well, I'm changing it up a bit. You know, I was like, I got shouted at because I didn't wear the t-shirt that I got given as a gift. But
mate, it's fine. It's fine. And actually, I am Dave Newcamp. Is it a new cap?
I don't know, relatively new. Wow, look at that.
It's a new haircut.
That is tragic.
Wow. Look at that, Dave.
Yeah, it is relatively new. Yeah, so normally I wear the kind of like these high top like trucker caps. This is This is more of like a lower down one. You see, it's like lesser. See,
usually I would be wearing one of those. You would be wearing one of these.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just wanted this one. It's really comfortable.
It's good. It's cool. Suits you definitely.
And
get
it says Yeti on there, look, and it's got a mountain.
It's quite a cool brand, isn't it?
To me, that's like Ahmed de Blam there, look. Or Pumori, maybe.
That's probably more Pumori, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say Pumori, actually, yeah.
Talking about Pumori, and before we go, I will answer one more question, because there was one on Instagram, and I know we talked about this last week because it was in the news, but someone asked about Base Camp.
Oh, someone asked that, yeah. What do we think of the new level Base Camp?
Well, I think, yeah, who was it? It was just sh.sherdell. How do you feel about the new Base Camp? Well, as we touched on it last week, and Everest Base Camp will always be Everest Base Camp. It's just, it does move around, and it has always done. But the fact is, it was in the news, and as we said last week, in terms of who it'll affect more the summit teams, because essentially we'll still be able to go to the old, if it will be the old Base Camp, we'll still be able to go to the glacier, which essentially where Base Camp is. Everest Base Camp just sits on the Khumbu Glacier, and it is. If you go there in the autumn, there is no Everest Base Camp really. It's just a sign where Everest Base Camp normally is, and usually that's just a big rock. So when it comes to Base Camp, we'll still be running trips to Everest Base Camp, of course, and these things as well. I think we always take a little bit of take a pinch of salt with anything that comes out of
Himalayan,
the news and these things when it comes from Nepal, because like over the last, say, 10 years, I think there's always been new things they're trying to bring in each season for the climbers on Everest to try and tackle, for good reasons as well, trying to tackle some of the rubbish issues by bringing down rubbish off the mountain. Also trying to tackle, the how busy it is and things like that. But when it comes to the trekking side, it is a bit different. And they don't always, there could be like 10 different things that say, okay, we're going to do that this year. Usually it's one or two. It doesn't really happen. So, we're keeping open minds with that. And definitely if it does move for anyone for anything that happens, we will let people know. Sophie, was there meant to be a road to Base Camp on today? Imagine that. No, I don't think there'll ever be a road on the Nepal side.
Yeah.
In Tibet, there is a road that goes to the north side of Everest Base Camp, but that isn't in Nepal. You can't get to it from trekking in Nepal. It takes 8 days still to hike.
Jerome understands me so well.
Why? What is he saying now?
No, it's just a little gag. Little gag that no one else got.
Mate, I'll have to look at.
You'll have to rewatch it, mate.
Right over my head.
It did, mate.
I didn't have my thinking cap on.
I know, mate. It rubbed it in the wound, mate.
But yeah, just answering Sophie's question there. Was it to Lukla?
They talked about that a couple of times.
They have talked about that, actually, haven't they?
They have talked about building a road, or at least to Faplu, maybe a more easier road then, and a hike from Faplu to.
Yeah, the interesting thing is because you fly to Lukla, that's where it starts. It wouldn't impact it as much as you think. So to be honest, if they did do a road or some sort of track to Lukla, wouldn't be a bad thing. To be honest, in my opinion, and although Lukla and the surrounding area, the economy does well there because of all the flights to it.
Yeah,
they'd still get all that traffic coming through, even if there was a road to that area to where you start. I don't think it's going to be, the M25, but it's certainly, if there was really bad weather, I mean, it'd mean that more people can go during winter because you don't have to rely on landing in Lukla anymore, which could be good for the industry and could be good. I mean, we're able to run trips in that time of year. So it's definitely food for thought, and it's probably a good one to finish on, actually.
Yeah, no, it is.
Where does the road go from here? Sorry, I was being philosophical.
Yeah, no, you switched from normal to philosophical so quickly. Sometimes.
Mate, that's what happens.
Well, mate, it's just the road. It does go ever on and on.
Oh my God.
Down from the door where it began. I'll follow it as best I can.
Dave loves Lord of the Rings. But no, right. I hope everyone's enjoyed today. I know it's a bit different because we're doing a little bit on Instagram as well. Literally shot on a phone. But I hope it's been useful today. And in terms of our vaccinations, about jabs, as we said earlier, do check with the travel specialist about what you do need. But we hope that's been useful in terms of roughly what you'll kind of need for your trips. Soon. Yeah. Dave, any final thoughts?
No, just have a good day and look after yourselves and each other.
Shona, bring your wallet at the weekend for all the drinks you owe me, Dave.
That's okay. She doesn't drink alcohol, I don't think.
Sinead will be fine.
I'll be buying her J2Os and Punk AF all weekend. But no, yeah.
Brilliant.
Look after yourselves and each other.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, have a wonderful week, whatever you're up to. If you are at the Great Glencoe Challenge, we'll be there on the weekend. We can't wait to do that. And we'll say hello. But look out for us.
We'll say hi the new.
Okay. We'll maybe go Scottish. Well, the thing is, you lived in Scotland for what, like 7-8 years?
Had a Scottish accent when I was younger, yeah. You know. Then it when I moved back to Wales, it evaporated.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
And now you have this.
I wish I still had it. Bit of exotica.
I know. I'd love an art.
Hey, to create art. How are you?
They've got to be related to tattoos, surely.
I don't know, but I didn't want him to have a look. I didn't want him to go without me acknowledging that I saw them. Brilliant. And I appreciate them.
But no, thanks, guys. I can see you all going, but have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. I know. I was thinking, do I really want to say that? Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.